Hello friends, and thank you for visiting the SDM website and watching this training video on how to search the site. What you have in front of you is the opening page of the SDM website at sedm.org. We have it open in the Microsoft Edge browser, shipped with Windows 10. Our website is configured as a WordPress installation, and so if you're familiar with WordPress, then you may be somewhat familiar with our site. We want to emphasize that there's a very large volume of materials on our site and the sister site called Family Guardian, and there are over 1,200 documents available on this site, on the Forms and Pubs page, on the Litigation Tools page, in the bookstore, in the download area. There are lots and lots of materials, and many of them are quite large. And so the ability to search those materials quickly and very quickly find information pertinent to your situation and your needs is extremely important, because you could spend lots and lots of time searching if you were not able to locate those materials using the search tools. The easiest and quickest way to locate materials is found on the right-hand sidebar of the opening page itself. In the lower right corner, we have three entries here. We have Site Search, Bookstore Search, and Sites Search, and we'll talk about each of those now. The first one is the Site Search, and the Site Search is used to search either pages or posts available on the site. An example of a page would be the page you have in front of you. And most of the other entries that you can click on here from the menus up here would also be, quote, pages, unquote. As far as posts would be found only on the Education menu at the top under Official Ministry Blog. That is the only place that we put posts on the site. So this particular search box would search pages or posts once again. And after you've typed in the search term you're looking for, in this box you can click on the magnifying glass or you can hit enter. Below that we have the bookstore search. The bookstore search will allow you to search the ministry bookstore for items by their item number or their SKU number or their name. And the bookstore is found in the top menu here. There are lots of entries here for the bookstore: donation, shop, cart, checkout, my account, catalog, terms of service, federal response letters, state response letters. So we can search all of these things here using the dialog or field found in the lower right corner called Bookstore Search. And this same bookstore search is also found on the bookstore itself. If we select Shop and we open that page to open the bookstore, we'll see the same thing over here, Bookstore Search. And likewise, if we want to search the bookstore for specific items in a particular category, like for instance federal response letters or state response letters, we can click here and open up yet another page, and that will display a summary of all of the federal response letters on the site. And there's a table of contents at the beginning to let you navigate around. And there's also a very useful listing of all the available federal letters that you might receive here. And if a sample is available, we have created a hot link so you can click on it and see a sample of the letter to make sure that it corresponds with the letter you received. And if it does, then you can go to the right of that and click on Get Response and order the item from the bookstore. We have a similar page like this one for state response letters right here, state response letters in the bookstore. All these items are bookstore items. Okay, it's organized similarly, but the listing down here is broken up or grouped by state instead. So we have a sample of the letter here. We have the item number, which is the store item number as well. And then we have a response if you want one, and then the title of that particular letter and the notes on that letter. Now these federal and state response letter links here on the bookstore page are also accessible over here from the bookstore menu down at the bottom. Federal response letters and state response letters. So let's close this bookstore page and go back to the opening page again, lower right corner. So we've looked at the first two items here. The last item is a thing called Sites Search. Now the Sites Search will use the Google search engine to search everything on the site. And by everything, we mean everything that the Google engine can get to. And that doesn't necessarily mean everything, because there are areas of the site that require you to log in as a registered basic member or a member subscriber. And so it will not find those things. And you're going to have to find those things by other means. But those things, the member subscriber and compliant member only content that the Google search engine cannot find, those items are few in number. Now this Sites Search also is accessible right up here under Reference on the menu at the top by clicking on Sites Search. So either one of those two links will take you to the Sites Search page. Other important search tools accessible from the menus at the top include the subject index, which is a listing of all of the resources on the SDM site itself. We'll open it up to show you. Here it is. There's a table of contents at the beginning, and there's a list of topics or subject areas, and you can click on any one of these links and go down to the appropriate section and see all the documents accessible from the site. Some of these are member subscriber or compliant member only content, and if they are, you will see a warning next to it. Like, for instance, this one here, commercial speech, has a warning, and it says member subscriptions, which describes how member subscriptions work, and then there's an actual link to the member subscriptions. So this is what you would call access controlled content. You have to log into the site, and you have to be a member subscriber to access it. So anyway, this page is very helpful for those who know the area they're interested in, but who want to quickly find all the documents that are available on the site that relate to that subject. And it would also include that search videos as well. So very powerful page. But sometimes if you're just getting started and you don't know the names of all the areas, sometimes you might want to look by, for instance, by the situation that you're in. So there's another page that deals with that as well. But anyway, if you want to download this page and save it for offline use, you can go up here to the upper left corner under web capture of this page, and that will allow you to download this page and reuse it offline if you need to. So the other link on the reference menu at the top is the thing called situational references. And situational references is formatted similar to the subject index, but instead the table of contents is organized by the situation you find yourself in. And each situation deals with a different party at the other side. So, for instance, federal issues with the federal government, or state issues with the state government, or private employers, or financial institutions, or courts generally, or tax litigation and discovery generally. And then there's sub areas within each area here. And it works the same. So if you click on any one of these entries, you'll go down to the topic, the situation in this case, and you'll see all the sub situations underneath that situation and all the forms that pertain to each situation. Notice on this page that you see a little Acrobat symbol, and that little icon or symbol basically says that this is a PDF document and you will need to have Adobe PDF installed in order to view that document or open it. And the PDF viewer is a standard part of the Google Chrome browser and the Microsoft Edge browser. and even the Firefox browser. So you shouldn't have to install anything new, but if you want to view the content outside of a browser and you want to just see it on your desktop, then you'll need a separate application called the Adobe Acrobat Reader, which you can download for free from adobe.com. So let's close the situational references. So that's another way to find things. There's also a thing called the resource index. We right-click on that and open it up. You'll see a PDF, and that PDF has a list of all the documents on the site. And they're listed in the sequence of their item number. And by item number, we mean, for instance, the form number that's on the Forms and Pubs page, or the litigation tool number that's on the litigation tools page here. Now let's give you an example. I'll open up the Forms and Pubs page, and you'll see that if we click on a subject area on the left over here, then we can see that there are essentially is a column called form number, and that's the same form number that appears right here, along with the title, which also appears right over here, title. So there are different types of content in this resource index, but this resource index is very complete, includes just about everything on the site, whether it's videos, PDFs, forms, litigation tools, bookstore content. Everything is there, and you can see that it's grouped. So this first group is all the exhibits on the site, and the exhibits are found on the reference exhibits menu here. And you can also see that if we scroll down to a different new section, you'll see there's another section called Federal Response Letters, and those Federal Response Letters, as we showed you, were right here under the bookstore menu, Federal Response Letters. And then there's also another section after this one. Let's see if we can find another section. Litigation Tools. Litigation Tools are found right here on the Litigation Tools page. So let's open that. And we can see there it is. And we can see that it too has a listing of content, forms mostly. And here's the tool number that we're looking at in that list, and the title, and the source that it derives from. Now this source is important because there's lots of different places the content can originate from. If it says member subscriptions, for instance, it's password controlled and access controlled content that you have to log in for. And in some cases, in this case, member subscriptions, you also have to apply for a member subscriptions account as well. But you can see it can also come from the bookstore here. So you could have found it through the bookstore search if it said bookstore, and so on. So let's close that and that. So this is basically a very complete list of all of the resources available on the site. And it's organized just the way the site is organized. Forms, litigation tools, bookstore content, exhibits, and so on. Response letters, there's state response letters, and we said that was right here under state response letters. We also said that it was on the shop page as well on the right-hand side. Scrolling down, so there's everything that's available on the website in one list. And this particular document can be searched just like any other form on the site, and all we have to do is type in Control and F as in Foxtrot, and then it comes up with Find on Page. So now we can search within this document for the item. So if we wanted to search for 02.002, it takes us right there to that document and highlights it for us, and any other instance of that particular phrase would also be highlighted. So that's how we can search within documents and within pages as well. In this case, we're searching within a PDF, but we could also use it to search within a page as well. See, it stays open. So we can search within this page as well, but let's close it. Another thing you might want to search for is other members. And you would do that from the Participate Member Profile search. So you can click on that, and it takes you to a page, and of course it gives you a warning here, a security warning, because we have to be logged in, and we're not logged in right now. But if we were logged in, then we would be able to type in a value in all the different fields within the member profile to find them based on certain criteria. So we could find them based on their username, we could find them based on the county or the state or the city that they're in, or their zip code, or what their interests are. This is a very powerful page, to help you hook up with other members in your area so you could schedule, legal activism or political activism events. Very powerful page. So we'll go back. And so we've shown you how to search pages and posts on the opening page under site search, the bookstore, and also the bookstore from up here. We also showed you the books. We didn't show you the bookstore catalog. Here's the catalog. Let's open that up. This is the bookstore catalog. It's grouped very similar to the ministry resource list that we showed you just a minute ago. It's got grouping the same way: electronic books, software, CDs and DVDs, federal response letters, and so on. It's a little bit different though, because although it has a title over here, it's got the item number like the other list had, the resource ministry resources, but it also has the form or litigation tool number. So this number here, for instance, would come from the forms and pubs page that we showed you earlier in the left-hand column where we had the item number, or the litigation tools page here in the left-hand column. That's what you'd search for from this column here. And then there's the suggested donation amount for the item in Canadian and US dollars. We remind everybody that everything on the site is listed in Canadian dollars. The exchange rate is usually pretty close to 1-to-1, but it varies quite a bit. And let's close this. And so we've showed you how to search the bookstore, the pages and posts, and the subject index, the situational references, the resource index. We showed you that. We showed you the site search is the same as the one that's down here. Another powerful search tool is called State Legal Research Resources. So if we open that up, we get a page from the Family Guardian sister site, and it lists all of the state jurisdictions and territory jurisdictions on the left, and the main website for each jurisdiction, and then all the various types of content you can find on that jurisdiction. So constitutions, statutes, regulations, register, which is where you publish the regulations, the court rulings, the court rules, UCC filings, and general info. And there are links in each column. So very powerful page. This page is so useful and we use it so often that we configured our browser to open up this tab automatically every time the browser starts. And but once again, this is a Family Guardian resource. We are not responsible for it. So if you have any problems with it, please notify them, not us. But it's a very powerful tool. So we go to the litigation menu entry at the top, and there's another one called Legal Research Sources. And this particular menu item is a much more comprehensive, much higher level search tool. And just about anything you could ever want to know about the legal field can be found on this single page. Very powerful tool to find whatever you need. And it's organized in a hierarchical way. So at the top we have God's law, and that particular group deals with God's law. And then we have state law, federal law, and all of these things are listed in the order they were created in nature. And so they follow what's called the hierarchy of sovereignty, which is based on the sequence that things are created. And so below the federal we have international relations, then we have reference, tools, dictionaries, maxims of law, definitions, abbreviations, practice resources for people who are practicing law, attorneys, paralegals, and so on. We have online libraries that you can locate books about particular subject matters. We have legal history resources, legal treatises on various subjects. And then across the top, let's scroll back up, we have the sources for those items on the left listed. And there's lots of different sources. On the left column we have this site. And this site, because this is on the famguardian.org website, this site means the FamGuardian site, not the SDM.org site. So all the links to that specific information on FamGuardian, there are links right here for it, so you can find it immediately. And then the next column is the U.S. government. If that information is available on the U.S. government site, you'll see a link here. If it's blank, then the government doesn't publish it. Then we have another column called Other, and this would be all the people that specialize in a particular item but don't have a broad selection of things. And so we'll list those people individually in each one of these boxes. And you might wonder why we colorize the rows and alternate the colors. And the reason is so you can follow them across, because this is a rather wide page. And so the next column, the next few columns we have here are all legal publishing or legal reference services. And so in each one of these is either free or it costs money. And so we have a row here, type, that deals with whether it's a free resource or whether it costs you money and you have to sign up and get a subscription. So if it costs you money, then there's a $sign next to it. And if it's free, then we just put free. And we have activated each of these links so you can go to the respective website to find out just what these people do and what they're about. And then in the column for each one of these resources, we'll have links to the particular content that they happen to have. And so if it's blank, you can at least presume that that content is not available on their site. And some of these actually have a no or a yes. And we put that because in many cases, we can't link to the content, but we know they have it. And we can't link because it's not available online or because it's password protected or any number of other things. And so if it says no, then they don't have it, whether online or in print. But if it says yes, then they have it, but it's not available online. And if it is online and you can get to it without logging in many cases, then there's a link provided for it. So at the bottom here of this very useful page, we have a bunch of notes. And the most important note down here is note 11, cost of various online legal research services. And so these are the services, most of them are that are across the top right here, the top row. Those services are listed and their contact information here, phone number, the plans that they offer and how much the plans cost, and little comments about each service. So if you're looking for an online research tool, then this would be a very good place to start, especially if you want to spend the minimum amount of money and the minimum amount of time locating the service. This is a very useful chart to start. And at the bottom, we have basically a diagram of the hierarchy of sovereignty. And this diagram follows the same hierarchy as the page that we're on itself does, because we had God's law at the top and then state law and then federal law and so on. We go down here and it's organized just the same way. God, we the people as humans, states, federal government, so on. And we've broken this up into 4 quadrants. We have church and state, and there's a separation between the two, and we put all the various entities on one side or the other. And then we have public versus private, which one's public and which one's private here. So it's interesting to look at which one of these quadrants that every type of entity falls into. And then we have a description of the above diagram. If you click on this link, we have a downloadable version of this diagram below that. And then we have a description of techniques that are used to break down the separation in this diagram and corrupt a society or a government and enslave the people in that society. So that's a really useful tool at the bottom there. So we've covered the legal research sources. We also have a thing called the Jurisdiction Database Online. And if we right-click on that and open it up, we'll see basically an online real-time display of all the various jurisdictions throughout the country, whether it be state or federal. So we have the jurisdiction that we're in. It defaulted to Alabama, but we can change it. We can open up the drop-down list and select a different jurisdiction and click on Find to go to that other jurisdiction. We have a menu at the top to go back to the home page on SEDM. There's another menu to sign up for an account on SEDM. We can go to the member forums on SEDM if we want. We can open the activism map, look at the region information. We can look at the basically a downloadable PDF version of this page and all other pages in the database with this link here. We can look at the state legal research sources that we saw earlier on the litigation tools menu right here. We can also look at the legal research sources, which we saw on the litigation menu here, right here. And we can look at a video tutorial on how to use this page if there's any questions. And then we have main resources for that particular jurisdiction, in this case Alabama. All the various links, they're hot linked and they work. And then there's authorities in various subject areas in the laws of that jurisdiction itself with a hot link to those authorities and notes on that authority and the date it was last updated. There are reporters. A reporter is basically a series of volumes that publish court cases for that jurisdiction. So it tells us all the various reporters that report on that jurisdiction and the range of years that they were active and the abbreviation for that reporter and the type of court that they report on. And then we have the various types of courts within that jurisdiction, points of contact, the Attorney General, the Governor, the Revenue Commissioner, Secretary of State. And we have the tax information about that jurisdiction, tax notices that it issues, the vehicle code summary here, a map of all the counties in that jurisdiction. So this is a very powerful page. And it's accessible from the litigation menu under Jurisdiction Database Online. Another useful tool is the free legal treatises page. If we right click on that, we'll see that the purpose of this page is to list books or documents that are usually free on other websites, not on SEDM, on a particular subject. So you can download a whole free book off of places like Google Books, and you can save it for offline use. You can read it on your tablet if you want to learn about a particular subject matter. The only basically disadvantage of this page is that the books that are listed here are historical books. Many of them are old, which is why they're free and because they're outside the copyright window. So they're very good for learning concepts, legal concepts. But as far as the application, in some cases, it's kind of behind what we're actually doing now. But it's organized the same way, and it has a table of contents at the beginning. It has basically groupings of subject areas that you want to learn about, and it has basically item numbers here if you want to reference those and send the link to the page to your friends or whatever. This page even shows you how to make your own electronic books, PDF books. We've done several of them. And so you might want to look at the instructions on how to do that. So from the opening page, the main page, we have covered just about everything there is to cover as far as search tools on the opening page. The only thing we haven't covered is this sites search here, and the which is also on the reference menu at the top under Sites Search as well. So let's go to that menu and open it in a new tab. And we'll spend some time on that page because this page, it has everything on it all in one spot. So it's very powerful, very useful. And so we have some of the same things on the right-hand sidebar that we had on the opening page. We have the bookstore search, which searches just the bookstore. We have forums search, which is new. And the forums search will search all of the topics and threads in the member forums, and the member forums are found right here. So if we wanted to open those member forums, here they are. And if we open this page, we'll also see that there's a similar search field on the page itself. So we can use this search field, or we could go to the site search here and search here. And so this will locate instances where members are talking with each other about a particular subject or a particular form or a particular litigation tool or a particular bookstore item or whatever. And next we have the site search, and that site search is exactly the same site search as we had over here, site search. And you may recall that the purpose of it was to search pages and posts. Pages, once again, are all the entries on these menus up here, and posts is everything listed under education and official ministry blog. And then finally we have the downloads search on the right hand side. The downloads search will search mainly member subscriber and compliant member only content. And what those two have in common is that they are access controlled or access restricted. You cannot view those items as a basic member. You have to be a member subscriber or you have to be a compliant member to view those items. And the download search will search the download library or download manager, and that download manager is right up here under member subscription library, or actually member subscription subscriber downloads. And so the member subscriber downloads is where all of the member subscriber content is found. And this is a very simple page. We're not logged in, so we can't get to it right now. And that's why we say that it's access controlled. Okay, so let's close the form page. We'll close the member subscriber page. And so that's how we search the downloads, the member subscriber downloads mainly, that are on the site. And on the left-hand side, we have a Google search field, and that field will search everything that the Google crawler can reach on the site. That doesn't mean it will search everything on the site, because there are certain things on the site that the Google crawler cannot access because it's not able to crawl the access controlled areas of the site like member subscriber content. And so you wouldn't find member subscriber content in this search. You'd have to search the downloads to find it over here instead. But anyway, we select where we want to search, whether it's on SDM or the whole web, and we just type in the thing we want to search for and click on the button. And we've covered most of the other stuff on this page before this time. We had the SDM resource index, which we said was right up here, resource index, and you may recall that that was all of the forms, all the litigation tools, all the bookstore content, all the exhibits. Here it is once again, just in case you forgot, resource index. Okay, so anyway, the SDM website subject index, we already went over that. That was right up here, subject index. We also went over the situational references, which is also found up here under the reference menu, situational references. And we have a new entry here called the Legal Research and Writing Techniques course. And this course is a refresher or an introduction to the subject of legal research and writing, because most people do not learn either of those subjects in public school or in grammar school or even in college. And the only people who do learn them are usually attorneys and paralegals. And we want everybody to know how to do this so that they don't need attorneys and paralegals, and they can do as much of their own legal activities as possible without attorneys and paralegals and without all the expense associated with those. So we want to democratize technology. But anyway, if we go to that document, we'll see an introduction to legal research. And all the links are hot links, so we can click on them and go there. And it's pretty simplified. And you can search like on every other page. You can do a Control F here and search for content in this training, whichever you like. So let's close the search bar, close the document. We also have the legal research sources, which we showed you earlier. That was on the litigation tools menu under legal research sources. We also showed you the state legal resources, which was right up here, state legal resources. And you'll notice that these are listed as offsite links. Some of these items here actually have form numbers. So if you wanted to go to this from the forms and pubs page, you could use this form number, form 07.001. If we go over here and we click on the forms and pubs page and we look for 07.001, then it's right here. 07.001 is where it is. So we could find it that way too. Situational references. So items on this site are listed in many different places, so you'll find them in many different places, and that way you won't forget that they're there, or you won't have to navigate somewhere else to find them. And we also already showed you the SDM Jurisdictions Database. we showed you the online version here, which we said was right up here under Jurisdiction Database Online, but there's also a printed downloadable PDF version as well. Here's what it looks like right there. So this is the PDF version, and it says type, so we have the jurisdiction name, the type, whether it's state or federal, income tax, does it have an income tax, what's the abbreviation, what country is it in, what date did it join the union, what are the name of the statutes, how many counties does it have, what area codes, phone area codes are in it, jurisdiction, tax information, the main resources, which we said was on the state legal research page. There's franchises, all the various franchises that it has, how they work, links to them, jurisdiction points of contact like we had on the SDM Jurisdiction Database Online. So basically everything that's on the SDM Jurisdiction Database Online is available here, but this is downloadable, so you can use this offline. So you might want to download that and save it to your local hard drive so you can use it, and it's all free. So let's close some of this stuff. And so we also have a video tutorial on how to use the SDM Jurisdiction Database on YouTube here. And then we also have a local copy, a downloadable copy, so you can watch it offline. And there's also on the Family Guardian sister site, there's also an equivalent Family Guardian Research Tools page. So if we open that up, we can see that on Fam Guardian that there's a whole index of subject areas, but the difference on this one is that it covers the whole internet, not just the Family Guardian site. It covers not only the Family Guardian site, but the whole internet for different subject areas. And so this is a very powerful tool. And we also have the Family Guardian Subject Index, which is similar to the SEDM Subject Index that we had up here, Subject Index, but in this case, it references just the Family Guardian site and not the SEDM site. We also have a video tutorial on how to use this search page and how to search the site generally. And that's the video that you're watching now, and here's a link to it on YouTube or a local copy if you want to download it. So let's close that last tab. So we have now completed covering all the different ways that you can search, all the types of things you can search for. And this is a very important skill once again, and we encourage you to spend time going over this video again if you need to, so that you feel very comfortable using the site. Because if you treat your rights seriously, then you're going to want to spend a lot of time learning the law, learning how to study it, how to use it in your defense, because quite frankly, if you don't know what your rights are, then you don't have any. And so you better learn what your rights are, and you better learn the search tools so you can find those rights in the law yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless you.